action.
Hey guys, welcome back to Half Sword. So we're back. It's pretty cold out here, so it's been fun. How'd this happen? Stuff all over me. Right. So welcome back to Half Sword. We have quite an interesting one for you today, as I'm sure you saw. Our umbrella just fell off, so that's cool. We have quite an interesting one today, as I'm sure you saw in the intro. The first thing I want to quick say before we move into the next bit here. Yeah, I'm not wearing anything like last time. It's really cold. I'm wearing a hoodie. It's fine, and also this stupid hat. Well, it's an army cap. But so, without further ado, I'd like to welcome on stage our co-host.
He didn't show up.
He's not here. It's just me today. Well, so it is just me. Zach could not make it. This is not really like a Zach could make it thing. This is a scheduling is hard, and schedules don't line up very well sometimes. And because schedules don't line up, we have kind of a terrible, yeah. So basically, that being said, this video still has to happen. And the good news is this is one that I can do relatively without Zach. So he won't be here this week. He'll be back. Do not worry. Do not fret. He is not gone forever. I don't know where I was going. So let's actually get the sword here. Let's get that on. It's not with me because the first. No. Thanks, man. So yeah, this here it is. Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? So this is an interesting fellow, if I do say so myself. You got that figured out over there?
Yeah.
Figured out the whole camera thing yet?
Yeah.
Video 3, recording 20, and you have.
Yeah.
So, this is, of course, this is Sting from the Hobbits, or from Lord of the Rings, or from wherever, from all of them, from none of them. So it's kind of from none of them, unfortunately, due to a couple of issues. So this is something. It's a sword off like Etsy or something. I got it as a gift. So we'll just start off by saying I don't really know anything about the specifications. I don't really know what it's made of. I can only kind of do guesswork as far as that's concerned. So we'll just do an outside overview before we even take this thing out. Handle, scabbard. This scabbard is totally purchased off of I think they make the replicas, like the official ones. And this is just, it's so loose in there. I think this is just a completely separate object that was purchased for this. So it's kind of irrelevant to the review, as it is clearly manufactured and completely different than the actual sword. That being said, the sword itself, because we can get rid of that. So, I guess last note on the scabbard, it's disgusting on the inside. It's like cardboard or I stabbed myself. It's cardboard or something, and it just leaves like residue all over this thing. So I'm just gonna wipe that off. That's fine. We don't really care about keeping this thing intact, to be honest. So, yeah, here it is. God, where do I begin now with this? So let's do butt to tip, as we've done previously. Pommel to sharp, pointy, stabby end. So starting down at the pommel, I'm gonna cut the mic cable. Starting down at the pommel, we have some sort of a steel, most likely stainless steel, fitted pommel. The pommel is really well shaped. It looks very nice. I like the pommel. It matches the film adaptation of this sword. Then moving to the grip, it is all wood. Don't let those little silver bits confuse you. That's just paint. Actually, I think it's paint marker, to be honest. But the wood handle is very nice. It's relatively comfortable. It is kind of on the slippery side, I will say. And it's a little on the small side as well. It's very round. But it's pretty comfortable, and it's smooth, which is nice. I guess it's not going to get splinters. Speaking of splinters, there is a piece of wood going just split. I don't know what happened here or how this was put together. I couldn't tell you. Moving from there, we go up to the crossguard here, which it's not really, I mean, it's a crossguard, but it's kind of a small sword. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It works, it's there. I will say that this handle construction is very solid. Nothing is loose here, nothing's moving. This all feels very put together. It's great. That, as far as that's concerned, we are good to go. Before I continue, my hands are getting kind of cold. I think I'm gonna have to have the gloves now. You have pockets at least. Anyway, so continuing, sorry, yeah, like I said, it's kind of chilly. We'll get up to the blade now. So this is a leaf-shaped blade. Again, this, I haven't even really mentioned, obviously, but it's, you know, it's Sting. So some of these things are just how Sting is. But we have a leaf-shaped blade. It is not very well shaped. I don't know how well you can tell on the camera, but this side is way bigger than the other, or it's just off center. It looks wrong. I don't know what happened. I don't know where the issues arise. It could be it could be warped. It isn't warped like straight on, like that's fine. And I think it's spring steel, but I don't know because I, again, have no information on the material. My thoughts that it's spring steel is the fact that it's like this. So yeah, but this is kind of an interesting, whatever we've got going on there. As far as the blade profile is concerned, it is very flat. We have a pretty decent blade profile. I think there may be an attempt at a hollow grind, but I can't really tell. Whatever it is, it's messed up like the rest of it. And the edges are pretending to be sharp. So sharpness will be a thing later. So we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna do some cutting today and really figure out if this thing even functions. The tip is definitely sharp. It opens packages just fine. That's that's all I can say. Yeah, so that's the basic construction. Couple more details. So this is a very light sword. It's a single-handed, double-edged leaf blade sword. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. And you know, in the Hobbit and I don't remember the specifics, but when they find the sword and stuff, they talk about it being essentially a large dagger for a person, but for the hobbits, it is for a sizable sword. I would not call this specific thing here any of the above. To be honest with you, it's too big to be a dagger, and it's too sad to be a sword. But, you know, whatever. This, I would say, is a lot closer to a Bronze Age sword in its size. I think that makes, but, you know, if you're making it out of steel, you could make it bigger. You don't really need this. I will say that does make it, it's actually has very decent balance point, and it is a quick, easy to move sword, just very little effort for any sorts of cuts, which is nice. It feels good in the hand. It is very comfortable to hold, and it feels quick. As far as the handle and the good old whatchamacallit, edge alignment. Edge alignment's a little bit weird because this handle's a bit on the slippery side, and it's not quite shaped in a way that makes sense. So you kind of gotta eyeball it with your eyes, which is, you know, kind of defeats the purpose. I like to just put my thumb up the front of the guard, and that seems to do the best at keeping my edge relatively aligned. So, and that's relatively, it's far from okay. So, that being said, I'm just gonna tuck my sword under my arm real quick while I put the glove back on. With that being said, it's not really a sword. It's not really a dagger. I think for a hobbit-sized person, it's probably a pretty short sword, and that makes sense. I think, as far as, I don't think that a human would have ever really wanted this, to be honest. I would rather have a little bit longer sword that maybe functions a little bit better. But this one's fine. It's whatever. You know, who cares? It's fantasy. As far as the leaf blade goes, I like it a lot. I really like the leaf blade design, aesthetically at least. I think it's a really cool I think it's a really cool shape. It also means usually we get a really decent cutting sword with still being able to retain a pretty aggressive point, and so it can be pretty good at stabbing and at cutting while with that leaf blade design. The flaw is mostly being added weight further up the blade, which you can counteract with more weight at the bottom. So I think it does actually really well on a small form sword like this versus something bigger like a long sword. I think leaf blade is kind of excessive at that point. You might as well just specialize your sword once you're getting to a long sword. But I think this actually works really well for this size weapon. Certainly if this was a double-edged sword that was not leaf bladed and was just tapered all the way up, I think it would suck even more. So yeah, I think part of that is just pretty good sword design from the prop from the movies. Again, this one's horrendously messed up. We'll head the other way now, back down the blade. There is what looks like etching along this blade, and I can't tell. I'm pretty positive that it is laser etched. It does look pretty clean, and like a laser might have done it, and not a person. That's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it does look laser etched. The crossguard looks like it's probably cast. There's a couple of pores in it that might suggest that it could be cast. Also, the actual engraving on the inside of the crossguard looks like it's cast, not engraved. Speaking of the crossguard, like I mentioned earlier, with this being as short as it is, this crossguard is the correct size. It feels a little weird because I think just the leaf blade and like where strikes are happening on this sword, I feel like this crossguard kind of sucks. I would want it to be a little bit longer to feel a little bit more efficient if it's going to have one. Otherwise, I feel like you could do away with the crossguard, but I will say with the balance relatively, I think it ends up doing pretty good. Although ideally, I would even like something more like what a lot of messers have, where they have a hook around the front. But again, that's not something specifically with this specific sword as it is. That's just Sting. Again, it's made to look like the one from the movie, so it's going to look like the one from the movie. It's not like they would have changed to a different guard completely because it's more better. But a perfectly functional guard, though, again, if it is cast, like I believe it is cast, it might be on the weaker side, and you might lose your thing. So that would suck. All right, let's see. There's not a whole lot more to talk about this. So unfortunately, I think that means we have to get into the testing. We have to test this thing out. So first off, before I give my predictions, so we're cutting today a couple of 2 liters and a watermelon, and something else that's going on Patreon exclusively. I don't think we're even going to scratch that object, to be honest, but check that out on Patreon if you wanna see what that is. There'll be more about that at the end of the video as well. So that's not the right. Anyway, so put your predictions down below, what you think, if this thing is going to be able to get through anything, what it's going to be able to get through, if anything. Just straight up, like, what do you think? What are you thinking? Do that before you watch the section. That's cheating if you do it after. We'll know if you cheat. So the other thing, we'll just go my predictions. I've kind of got 2 predictions. The first one being this edge is really, really garbage. It's like a really aggressive secondary bevel. I think that the edge might mean we literally do not get into anything at all. However, this is a very flat and wide blade profile on the cutting, like where we're cutting, hopefully, assuming we're hitting the correct part of the blade here, which, again, some issues that we have with cutting are probably up to my own fault. We'll find out if I mess up the edge alignment. But the blade profile is really flat, and I think that we could get still really good cuts. If we're able to cut, I could be relatively surprised, I think. It's possible that this cuts very well. I think this will be interesting as well, as there is a very big misconception that medieval swords were dull. because, oh, they didn't need to be sharp to cut. So, well, I guess we're going to find out. Did they need to be sharp to cut to begin with? Although I will say that that is, again, a misconception, and their swords absolutely were sharp, and we have surviving proof that they were sharp all along the edge. And that is likely the case, that this will struggle to cut. We do know that a sharp edge means it's going to cut better. That's obvious. But I am curious to see is, even with this essentially garbage edge, I mean, it's there. There's an edge, but it sucks. Even with that edge, can we still get cuts? So that'll be interesting. We're going to cut to that now. That's where we're going. We're going to go do some testing. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. And that's what we're doing today. Okay, so we're going to go like this.
Yep.
That's my hit location.
Okay.
Something got wet. I think that's just on the. I didn't even make a mark. Okay, I think I got to go in at a different angle. I don't want this. That made an awful sound. We're good?
We're zoomed back in.
It doesn't. I got through the label.
Yeah.
So it works, and that way it works. If you do it like this, you can get through it. That went really far. I'm gonna see if I go from the other side, if I can get it. I'm gonna just go for the cap this time. Did we get in? Whoa! We got a laceration, boys. That's progress, if you ask me. This thing sucks. He's leaking over there. Get me the melon. Dude, what if I can shave layers off of it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Okay.
Okay. That is such an unclean cut for how like flat it was. Okay. Okay, once it gets in, it might be okay. I think we're learning.
Okay, now that is where you have to lean it out.
That is messed up. We can throw these and cut them though.
Yeah.
Wait, how slow can I? Oh my god. Wait, the pommel came off. Hey, we figured out how the pommel works. Hey, can you cut back real quick?
It's gonna go right there.
Right
okay?
Here. Oh, I cut a piece off.
We got it.
Wait, melon, okay. Melon's easy to cut on paper because it's really soft on the inside once you get through the skin. So you should be able to just go through it. But it's working. Okay, so this edge is starting to get pretty destroyed. We can still cut. It's skipping as I go down. It's light enough. It's not keeping its direction I hit, and it scoops up really easily. So, but I got pretty deep there in that I can just, it's skating through it so easily. Like, I feel like what we're really learning is that it's like with hard cuts, pretty much anything should just keep going through. But the fact that this is doing really well at low speed is pretty impressive. The camera's about to die, which sucks. As you can see, this is clearly staged. So actually trying to get this set to work, we cut the watermelon again, so it's kind of unfortunate. I'm gonna grab this now, so you might want to move away before I hit you in the head.
You're good.
It's pretty good at cutting. I don't really want to.
Yeah, you're good.
Actually, you might want to move.
I might want to actually hold it.
Right. So you got the basic idea there. I think we actually learned quite a bit Would you agree? I
I'd say so.
I think there's a lot that we actually like learned, and not just like learned, but learned. So first things first,
Pommel is glued.
the pommel is glued.
Yeah.
You saw that. I think that's in there.
But
It's
was,
can't get it back off now, but
reattached with watermelon
glued.
juices.
we do, however, know that the tang does go all the way through the handle. It goes all the way up to the pommel, and the pommel is a cap on the bottom of that. So that's good to know. We have introduced some rattle. That's new. We've introduced a bit of rattle. There's also quite a bit of damage to the edge and tip of this blade. It is ruined. It is bad. This is clearly, if it is spring steel, which I think it probably is, it is not well tempered or hardened or anything like that. Yeah, so the edge is really bad. It won't even cut into a water bottle. The tip would when I stabbed it relatively easily, but this edge will not cut through like the plastic on the water bottles or the 2 liters. However, when faced with something like a watermelon, which as far as the cutting resistance is pretty easy, the main thing with a watermelon is being able to effectively get through without wedging, because you have to have something like thin that can slice through the whole thing. And it did phenomenal, to the point of most sharp things should be able to cut a watermelon pretty easily. They're not very difficult things to cut, but being able to cut in a way where I was not even trying, where I was almost just dropping this thing lazily and it would just go straight through anyway, was very impressive. And that isn't the edge again, because this edge is terrible. Even after we literally rolled this edge, like it is beyond damage. Like I could fix this, maybe. I'm not very good at fixing this type of thing, but I could fix it. You would just still be able to tell that I'd rolled the edge before. It would be very obvious. So, that being said, we did in fact go through the watermelon, and it was really easy, like I said. So what that I think really just shows is this really flat, this super flat, thin blade with the wide leaf. I mean, this isn't a very wide leaf, but it is wider than down here, and that just lets this just go clean through things. So, if this sword had a little bit more weight to it and had a proper, like a real edge on it with everything else going on for it, this could have gone through the 2 liters as well. The issue again there is the actual ability for it to cut and bite into things, which it pretty much lacks. So, yeah. It's Cole's co-hosting now. Did you have something to add? Is that what
I learned. I don't know what.
The last thing is just to touch up on things that we've been over in previous videos, just to have a little bit of parity, even though I don't think it's very relevant here, to be completely honest with you. What is the use case for this? Watermelons, I guess, seems to be about it. As far as this specific sword that I'm holding is concerned. Now, I would say just about nothing, because the edge is completely destroyed. But this type of sword, this short leaf-bladed sword, let's go over this really quickly, because some of it's really obvious. In a judicial or official or duel of any sorts, this thing would suck. This thing would be downright miserable. On the battlefield, the same exact thing. Especially, this thing seems to be very easy to damage. Even, I'm sure, if it was made 100% properly, it would probably get pretty damaged pretty quickly, just because it is that thin and flat. So, obviously, the only remaining possible use for this would be self-defense, and that, I think, it honestly shines at this specific design. The wide blade and like just this easy to carry, it's lightweight, it's a really good form factor. This is a small, very small sword as well. Like I said, I don't think this is a large dagger. This is a short sword, and because of that, it's really easy to carry, really quick and nimble. You can get this out really easily. And also, it has a very good cutting blade here. And I feel like in a lot of situations where you're carrying this as your personal defense weapon, you're fighting unarmored opponents, you're not fighting someone who you're concerned with needing to worry about armor. So, as such, I think this really shines in that regard. has almost no reach. I mean, it has the reach of the fact that you're able to use it one-handed, so you've got that to your advantage. And it has issues. This is far from a great sword, to be honest with you. This was honestly primarily, I really wanted to see if this could cut anything, and geez, does it cut. There is one last thing before I let you go. As far as cutting is concerned, we do have, I already mentioned this once, we do have a Patreon video out coming alongside this one. That one is using this specific sword here to cut a pickle jar. We wanted to see what would happen because somebody thought it would be funny to say that last recording, and so now it's happening. Thanks, Cole. So, anyway, that's happening. That's over on Patreon. We cut a pickle jar. I won't speak on how the edge got damaged. I can't promise it wasn't the pickle jar. If you were watching and noticed that nothing in there showed the edge being damaged, it's because it was the pickle jar. So go check that out, please, because this thing is ruined thanks to this video. So yeah, go look at that. That's okay. That's a good idea. Yeah. Only last thing. Yes. So thank you all for watching. Very, very sorry that you did watch this if you chose to watch it. But we appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on all those socials. Those are down in the description below. You can go check those out. There is Twitter, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's TikTok, there's Discord, I forgot, and then Patreon again, where that pickle short will be. There's also a couple other posts up there for you guys already. Those are either $1, just paid $1. There's an $8 option as well. Just don't even bother with that. That's there. Just do the, if you want to support, do the $1. Don't spend extra money on us. Again, really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. Those are the things that actually make a difference, and it's free. All of it's free. Well, I might charge you for it, but it's free on your end until I find where you live, and then it's not free. Well, I think that's about it. It's been me. I've been hosting. Co-host, he didn't show up, and it's Cole behind the camera as per usual.
Not taking the hobbit's toys and Tell me where is Gandalf, for I much desire to speak with you. Tell me where is Gandalf, for I much desire to speak with you. A Balrog of Morgoth. What do you say? A Balrog of Morgoth. What do you